Shout out Q. Shout out Q.
We're back at the Wilkins Athletics and Events Center. Shenandoah Women's Lacrosse getting ready to start their season. A captain on the team who plays defensively for the lacrosse team, Julianna Fohner. Thank you so much for your time. Just take me through your off season in a sense, and what's it like just getting set, prepared for another season of lacrosse.
Yeah, it's super exciting to play my senior year. We had a great season last year. I'm super excited to see what we do this upcoming season, and we have a great roster, great team, and great coaches, so I'm really excited.
What is sort of fill in the blanks here in terms of last season, 15-5, a huge stat I saw, you were undefeated at home. So it's probably a great atmosphere to play out here at Shenandoah. Just take me through your season and what really stood out to you, and maybe some things from the season you want to carry into your off season going into this upcoming season.
Yeah, we had a great season last year, obviously very historical, undefeated at home. It was awesome. The fans and having everybody there is awesome. I think what we focused on a lot last year was our team being united and everybody being connected and connecting on the field as well as off of the field, and I think that really gave us success on the field. We trusted each other and we knew that other people were there for each other, so it was really great. Want to keep that going. We're really working on connecting off the field right now so that once next Saturday comes, we're ready to go.
How huge is it having a connection in lacrosse? It seems like there are a lot of moving pieces to make sure everybody's in the right position on the field in order to get the lacrosse ball in the net, obviously the object of the game. But take me through what it's like in terms of how strong that connection has to be.
Yeah, lacrosse is a really special game, I think. It's very beautiful when connections happen. Everybody can see it across the board, so it's really awesome. People need to be able to trust each other in certain places, and if you don't have that trust, then things start to fall apart. But I think our leadership on our team, and especially all of our younger teammates stepping up and us putting our trust in them and them putting trust in us, is really important because you just see all the connections all over the field.
So can you sort of walk us through what your role is defensively and as a captain on the defensive side, trying to protect the ball from getting in your own net?
Yeah, so my role specifically, I play low defense, so I tend to be more of the voice for the team. I like to just help people find their roles on the team and decide what we need to do in certain scenarios and things like that. So I think our defense is a little bit younger. We have 3 senior other defensemen, including myself, so a lot of leadership there, and we just have a lot of trust in each other, and it's awesome.
And defensively, too, I would imagine the main goal is to step up and make sure you're forcing those turnovers. I would imagine that's a term called. But, again, defensively, just stepping up, being that presence to make sure nobody gets the ball in your net and protecting your net. How huge is that?
Yeah, it's really important to have those slides there. We trust our goalies immensely. We have 4 really awesome goalies that are willing to step up at any time and make great saves. It's really important in lacrosse to get in their hands so that they're not able to make plays and force them to the outside of the 8 meters, what it's called, is the main defensive area. So you want to keep them to the outside, keep them out where they're not able to make as many passes or pass or drive into the 8 meter, which is really important.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, but defensively, are you feeding it to your offensive players to try to get up and score? What is that like logistically?
Yeah, so it's called a clear. So once we come up with a caused turnover, or a goalie comes up with a save or a turnover or ground ball, we then clear it to the attackmen or midfielders who will be cutting up to us. So we transition that ball to them, and our defense does a great job of transitioning. We had a really great clear percentage last year, and we continue to do that every time we play.
And you mentioned the smooth transition to get that. How huge is that, going back to when we were talking about the connections on your team to make those smooth transitions? And is there such a thing in lacrosse, transition points, when you have a turnover, maybe a fast break or something like that, like basketball?
Yeah, absolutely. It correlates a lot to basketball, fast break, slow break, things like that. So we want to get the ball to our middies or our attackmen as fast as possible. So that's where those connections come into play. And then making sure that they're pushing that ball down to get either a fast break opportunity or a slow break opportunity is really important. So once we get the ball out of our sticks, it's then their turn to, keep that momentum going.
So take me through your role as a captain off the field, too. I would imagine you're a vocal leader as well. I would imagine some younger girls coming up this year. What is that like, sort of getting the team together, knowing who you've played with last year and introducing some new players into the system this year and sort of guiding them on how Shenandoah women's lacrosse likes to play?
Yeah, I've been really grateful to be a captain for 3 years. So I've had a lot of experience doing it, and I've learned a lot from my fellow captains and captains who came before me. So we have a really great team culture, and we like to be inclusive with everybody on our team. We call ourselves a family. We consider each other sisters. So it's really awesome to be able to connect with those younger people. I mean, there's 5 of us captains, so we all have little roles that we like to play, and it's awesome when underclassmen come up to me and they're asking me questions and things like that, just trying to learn. And I think the biggest thing about our underclassmen is that they're just curious, and they just want to know what's the best way to do things and learn from us, which is really awesome.
And just the season, as we take a look into this season coming up shortly, I know you had some fall ball work as well with a fall season. So take me through sort of what the fall season is like and how that helps in the transition. You get a nice long winter break, and then you're hitting the ground running from fall into spring, getting ready for more lacrosse.
Yeah, the fall is just a little glimpse of seeing what we can do and seeing what we're capable of. We don't take it as a full vision of what our season's gonna look like, because obviously there's so many changes. We added one of our teammates was playing field hockey in the fall, so she's a new addition to our team this spring. So just putting all those pieces together and little mistakes that we made in the fall and in our play day and our alumni game, and then transitioning into the spring and changing those little details and stuff. But I always feel that leaving fall and coming into spring, you have a whole different mindset. You have a whole different outlook of how things are moving, and things are moving a lot faster in the spring than in the fall. So I think it was a great correlation and look to how our season's going to look in the fall, because we played really well, people stepped up, and it was great to see. So.
And you have a scrimmage coming up soon from what I saw on the schedule. Does that help a little bit, bringing outside competition at this point before your season to sort of knock any of the kinks, the rust out before your first opening game of regular season?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a play day this past weekend against Stevenson and Susquehanna. So we played 2 full games there, and then a man-down situation for about 15 minutes. So it was really great to work out the kinks, get some of those nerves out, and then we have a scrimmage this upcoming weekend, which is more of a structured game-like scenario. So that's really great. Just get those nerves out and know how to work with each other, work out the kinks like you said, and just see what we're capable of. So I think scrimmages are important because they allow you to make those mistakes without it actually really meaning anything.
Man down, yeah, I would imagine that's penalties. If there's a penalty box, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so defensively or anyone on the field can get them cards. They're called yellow cards, green cards. Yellow cards 2-minute penalty, releasable. So on a goal for the other team, the penalty would be released, and then green cards are 1 minute, releasable also. So those are super important. In our team, there's a new rule in NCAA lacrosse where in the 30s any physical fouls are a 1 minute green card penalty. So that's super, super important back to transition and fast break and slow break, which we were talking about. So fouls are really important. They're not good. And so practicing that man down scenario, which power plays were in a lot, so that's super important this past weekend that we worked on.
Obviously, you never want to have fouls, but they do happen. And when it comes to defense, looking back at the defense, when you're a man down in a situation like that, it must be added pressure. How do you sort of handle that?
Yeah, we work on our man down defense a lot. I'm super guilty of getting penalties and fouls, so I will say that. But our defense is really strong. We're all very structured, and we communicate really well, and we know how to read each other really well. So I think that's the most important thing when you're playing man down is just knowing how to read each other, playing big, and communicating, because obviously you're a man down and they can really do whatever they want, but dictating or trying to read a play before it happens is super important playing man down.
So just to wrap things up here, Julianna, just what are you looking forward to most out of this season, your senior season, a culmination of a great career, I would imagine, with 3 years being a captain? Just what are some of your emotions like?
Yeah, it's super surreal, especially after coming off last season. I'm hoping for another great season. I know we're going to have a great season. It's just, I want us all to just be proud of, and myself included, of the legacy that me and my class are leaving. I think we've done a great job of pushing the expectations higher, and just making our coaches proud, making the university proud is super important. So I love lacrosse. I'm sad to leave it, but I'm hoping to end on a great note.
And in the ODAC, I would imagine that the competition is tough, like every sport that the ODAC has. Is that true? And what's it like playing in the ODAC?
Yeah, the ODAC for us is very competitive. Our rankings haven't come out this year, but we ended last year third in the ODAC, so that's been the constant for us, and this year I have a really good feeling that we're going to change that. So, the ODAC's super awesome. It's super competitive. It's really nice to just be able to play schools that aren't very far from us and in great areas, and just being able to see a bunch of scenery and places, and I think it's awesome. I think the schools that we play are super competitive. Most of us are ranked. The top 3 teams this past year were ranked, and the top 3 teams made it to the NCAA Tournament, which is unbelievable, and it's awesome for our conference.
And you mentioned that preseason poll hasn't come out yet, but do you even look at that, or you just stick to your game plan and play some lacrosse?
I think we look at it and we use it as motivation, because that number really doesn't mean anything, because we know that we're going to go out on the field and play our best and do whatever we can to move up in the rankings or stay in the rankings, and then we'll prove it to them in the playoffs. So I think we look at it, we move past it, and we use that as motivation.
Julianna Fohner of the Shenandoah Hornets women's lacrosse team, as the season getting set to take place just a couple weeks away. Really appreciate your time. Thanks so much, and best of luck to you this season.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Back at Shenandoah University, now joining me, a graduate student on the women's lacrosse team for Shenandoah University, Ainsley Buckner. Thanks so much for your time, Ainsley. Just take me through, in your mind, last season, obviously very successful, 5 losses, undefeated at home. Just take me through last season and what you really liked and what you're taking into this season.
So last year was definitely a very historic season for us. Undefeated at home, I don't think that's happened before. So that was pretty cool to see and be a part of. And then just going the trip to the NCAA tournament for the first time ever in program history, and then winning a game. It was just so surreal. Just we lived in the moment. We enjoyed the moment. And when it was all over, it was pretty awesome to look back on the season and see what we done. But we know that there's more to come. We lost some big girls, some big-time girls in the midfield for us. So we got some young, fresh talent coming in that hopefully we can fill those shoes. But I'm just hoping to continue doing what I do and leading the offense, dominating the draw, and just continuing leaving a legacy.
So the NCAA tournament, just take me through getting a selection in there. Huge for a program to get in. What is that experience just playing in an NCAA tournament?
It's something I definitely dreamed of since I was a little kid. So seeing our name come across the screen that we were entered in and selected to play in the NCAA tournament was just the most amazing thing to see. I was shaking. We were all screaming. We were so excited. And then just the whole trip going, like I think everybody was just excited. The nerves were a little bit stronger just because we've never played on that kind of platform and step up from the ODAC tournament and stuff. But I think we handled it well. We handled the pressure well. We came in with a chip on our shoulder. Not many people believe that we should have been there, but we all believe we should have. We fought harder than a lot of other teams, so we deserve to be there. So that was pretty great to see. And then we dominated that first game. I don't think people realized that we were going to come in and dominate that team. It was SUNY Canton. They had a lot of All-Americans, but our team was stronger and more united, and we used our tools, and we won.
You mentioned just taking a look at this season, you lost some key pieces due to graduation, what have you. But just looking at the makeup of your team this year, how do you think those roles are getting filled, and how do you like the makeup of your team this year early on?
I think we have a lot more options to use offensively and in the midfield. Our defense didn't lose too many people, so they're pretty solid, but we got we got some quicker and stronger younger girls coming in that are definitely going to make a huge impact stopping goals and making big plays. And then offensively, we got so many young, fresh, eager talent coming in, which is great to see. It's just about a matter of putting the pieces together and executing.
You've been with this program for quite some time now as a graduate student, and I would imagine your leadership as a vocal leader too. What is that like in sort of bringing some of the younger girls up who are new to this program?
Just trying to teach them the plays, teach them how we run our offense here at Shenandoah. It's been a little bit of a work in progress, but we're starting to get down. We have one more scrimmage coming up to fine-tune some things, but I think all the pieces are slowly coming together. And it's just a matter of anticipating each other and reading each other well. I think we did a really great job of that last year, but we have so many other players now, especially the freshman class and sophomore class stepping up, that we can now rely on as options. So it's not going to be just one or two scores. It's going to be multiple different scores. So that's going to be really awesome to see.
So take me through your fall season. What was that like for you, sort of having some fall ball, then the winter break, preparing for this time as lacrosse season starts in a couple weeks?
Yeah, so we have a summer packet that goes along with footwork, shooting, passing, wall ball routine, lifting, running, a lot of sprints on the field. So it's only like everybody needs to be doing that in order to be in shape. It helps a lot coming back in shape. So we had to get all the freshmen on board and being like, this is what we got to do. We're not satisfied with where we ended last year. We want to go steps further. We want to have another historic season. I believe we can do that. We put in a lot of work in the off season, working together, especially with all these younger, fresher girls that we have coming in. So, I mean, and then we also have another girl who's on field hockey. She's going to play with us. She's a huge part of our offense, and I think she's going to make an impact. So it's really nice to play with her now in the spring. But I think we all came in shape. We did what we did. We did what we needed to do in the off season to be a better team. And I think this team is definitely going to have another historic season.
So take me through what your role sort of is on the field, just to enlighten everybody viewing this. What is sort of your role, and what do you do in terms of full lacrosse game?
I think I bring my leadership and experience. I remember being a freshman and how nervous I was, and to make mistakes and being afraid of like how much bigger and stronger these other girls were. But I bring my experience and like my composure and staying poised even in like moments where everything's frantic and people are freaking out. The girls look to me, and when they see me calm, they're calmer. So I have to kind of hide my emotions even if I want to be freaking out. You got to stay composed. Also teaching them that mistakes are going to happen, but it's a matter about how we bounce back from them. So definitely being more vocal, trying to give them a voice and empower them to do the things I know they can do, and just be more uplifting.
So you mentioned you're a forward, correct?
An attacker, yes.
Attacker. So are you one of the ones driving the ball, trying to score, or what's that like?
Typically, yes. In the past, that's been how it's had to go. Usually I get shut down. sometimes by the other team's defense just because they know how I play and stuff. So with these younger girls coming in, a lot of these teams aren't going to know how they are. They're not very predictable. So, yeah, I'm going to drive as much as I can, but usually girls are going to slide to me, and that's when I'm going to be looking at girls to cut off when they're open, when their defender slides, and then feed them the ball, and hopefully they can put it away.
And how huge is it on your end? You're trying to get the ball up, score. In terms of communication, finding those open looks to other players to try to get them the ball if people are crashing on you to try to get a score and maybe score an assist there.
It's just kind of learning how each other play and what our strengths and weaknesses are. I got a pretty good hard drive, and a lot of girls know when I'm driving hard, I'm going to collect slides, and that they got to be in a position for me to either turn back and hit them with a pass or just cut for me so I can hit them with a dump and just quick stick it right in the goal past the goalies. And then I also have to learn how these younger girls are playing and what their strengths and weaknesses are. So it's just putting those pieces together and getting on the same page, which I think we've been working on a lot and we're doing a really good job of. So, yeah.
So just to wrap things up here, just take me through sort of with one scrimmage left, obviously a scrimmage. You get to work on and fine-tune some of the pieces before the regular season starts. How big is that to get one more scrimmage in before the start of your season?
It's huge for us, especially offensively. We got a lot of young girls, so the nerves are pretty high, but this scrimmage is going to help us get rid of those so they're ready and they expect or they know how to play against other teams other than ourselves. I feel like we've just been playing against each other for all fall and for the past 3 weeks, so playing against some new and different, getting different looks is really going to help us figure out what we need to work on, things we need to change or fine tune, or things we need to stick with. So playing the scrimmage is going to be a huge factor in determining like who works best together and just like putting pairs together since we have so many options.
And just what are you looking forward to most, and what is it like playing in the ODAC conference when it comes to lacrosse?
We have a very competitive conference. Anything can happen. I think this year we have our best opportunity to do something that we haven't been able to do in my 5 years I've been here, which I'm really looking forward to do because I think this team can do it, and that's beating Roanoke and WNL, which we haven't done in a long time. We've fallen short every year, and it's disappointing, but we got this chip on our shoulder, and we're looking forward to giving it our all, going out there and dominating.
Shenandoah women's lacrosse, Ainsley Buckner. She sounds like she's very excited, getting ready for a new lacrosse season coming up in just a couple weeks. Ainsley, really appreciate your time, and best of luck to you.
Thank you, Kirby.
Now joining me, the head coach of Shenandoah women's lacrosse in her 17th season, Coach Lindsey Lutz. Coach, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time here on the Kirby on Sports podcast, and just what's it like embarking on another season of Shenandoah lacrosse?
Yeah, I mean, well, one, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to just be here and talk about the season that's ahead of us. It's great. I mean, I love this time of year, just the hope and the excitement of starting a new season. It's what I love best about this job. We get to start fresh, new mottos, new players, so super excited to get things started.
17 seasons here. What has sort of changed? And you can give me a short, abbreviated answer to this because I know this is a loaded question, but the change, the evolution of lacrosse from when you started here up until now.
Oh, that is a big question. That's a loaded question. I think we've become a place of choice in the recruiting process. I think people know about our program. And I think that that's really been a huge shift is we're able to go out and get players that we really want, and they know about our program. So I think a lot of people are reaching out to us, and so I think that evolution has really helped kind of take our program to the next level.
When it comes to recruiting, what is that like for you and the coaching staff? Because I know not all high schools, at least in the state of Virginia, offer lacrosse, but the teams that do, are you focused, the schools rather that do, are you focused on them, or what is that like?
Yeah, I think lacrosse recruiting is definitely based on the travel scene, the travel lacrosse scene. So we kind of go to the tournaments over the summer and in the fall, and that's really our focus. But yeah, there's not lacrosse right in this area, so we don't typically get local players as much as maybe some of the other sports teams here at Shenandoah do. But we are, we recruit kind of anywhere that there's talent. That's where we want to recruit.
And you mentioned this is pretty much a place that people want to come and play. What is that like building the program up from when you started to now in terms of having players wanting to reach out, wanting to come play for your program?
Yeah, well, I think it's appropriate to shout out my associate head coach, Carapoo Bandit. I think she's really kind of evolved our recruiting. Just with her kind of aggressive techniques and the way that we sell our program to the recruits. But I feel as though I think the biggest thing is just having a full-time assistant. When I first started, I didn't have a full-time assistant, so I think having 2 people on board in a part of the recruiting process has really helped us kind of divide it out and kind of conquer the recruiting world.
So take me through last season, only 5 losses and undefeated at home. Home must be a very electric place to play, and you protect your home field very well. Just take me through last season and what really stood out to you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously last season was a record-breaking season for us for many things. We ended up with going to the NCAAs for the first time, which was obviously on my bucket list for a while. So that's a memory that I'm going to always cherish, like hearing our name called out on that selection show and not knowing if we were going to hear it or not. Definitely, I would say top 2, top 5 moments in my career for sure. I think a lot of it was just, we worked hard, we played the right people, and we beat the right people. So it wasn't, I don't know if it was anything magical, but we just kind of bought into we got to win these games, and we did. So.
And looking ahead, you have a fall season, a nice break for your players, and then back to the grind, getting ready for regular season lacrosse coming up in just a couple weeks. Just take me through what it's like getting your squad back, some returners, some new faces, and what is that like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously coming off of the success we had last year, that's a great building point. Obviously that adds new expectations, kind of new pressures this year. I think this team has a really great combination of young talent and then also that experience that have come off the success that we've had the last couple seasons. So it's great. And our task as coaches is to kind of how can we blend that together? How can we get this young talent and this great expertise and kind of the returning talent, how can we get them to mesh and kind of build a new product this year?
And how does that help having your captains, Julianna, one of them we just spoke to earlier, in terms of being those vocal leaders, because you can only do so much as a head coach, having them sort of guide them, help them within your program, as well as some of the younger players?
Yeah, I mean, I think we use our leadership team. We have 5 captains. We use them as a branch of our coaching staff, I think. And they're really in charge of the culture. I mean, they're the ones in it every day. And so I think we really empower them to take charge and lead in a way that we necessarily can't do because we're not there every day. We're not on the field with them. So I think that that's really important. I think having Ainsley and Julianna as kind of leading that, because they were captains last year as well, and then we have 3 new captains joining them. I think they're going to be a great group, and they're going to lead us really well this year.
Absolutely. So getting set for regular season lacrosse coming up, had some scrimmages. They called it a play date, I believe. 2 teams. What is that like, just getting together with multiple teams in the same day, just trying to focus on what they're working on best, maybe improving some stuff, but what is that like from your standpoint in terms of evaluating what you see out there and trying to fine-tune it with one more scrimmage coming up and regular season yet to come?
Yeah, I mean, I think the play day was great. We were able to see a lot of different looks, and really we were just focusing on us. I think it was a great way to play, full field. That's not something we can always do in practice. And just being able to face those opponents twice in one day to see how we can adjust. I think that was important. This scrimmage we have coming up this weekend, it's more of just it's exactly like a regular game. So just kind of getting the freshmen to go through that, our pregame traditions, just getting them to kind of get used to what that feels like. So we're ready to rock when we open up with St. Mary's.
Absolutely. And the schedule, just take me through the makeup of your schedule this year. I know usually it's ODAC heavy towards the end of the season, but what stands out to you about some of the competition this year?
Yeah, I mean, our philosophy has been over the last 3 to 4 years is we got to play the best. So the top 20 just came out at the beginning of the week, and we have 5 top 20 teams on our schedule, with out of conference being Franklin and Marshall, Salisbury and CNU, and then in conference Washington and Lee and Roanoke. So we're super excited. We love those challenges. That's been our approach. Let's play the best and see what happens.
And what stands out to you about the ODAC when it comes to women's lacrosse? Because across the board, it seems like the ODAC is such a tough conference, no matter the sport you talk about.
Yeah, I mean, last year we were a 3-bid conference, so 3 teams got to the NCAAs. That's huge. And so I think, and we have teams right under us that are just as competitive and hungry for that spot. So I love being a part of the ODAC. That's one of our selling points in the recruiting process is just how talented the group is and how hungry the teams are.
So this might be another loaded question, but last year in the NCAA tournament, what are you preaching to your girls in terms of what success they had getting to the tournament, trying to match that to get back and even farther this upcoming season?
Well, I mean, last year, obviously, it was new. It was the first time. I think our message last year was just embrace the moment and enjoy the experience. Obviously, this year, I don't know if we have any necessarily expectations. I think we're just treating it as a new opportunity and see what happens.
Absolutely. So there you have it from the head coach of the Shenandoah Hornets women's lacrosse team, Lindsey Lutz, as lacrosse is getting ready to take place. The regular season just a couple weeks away. Coach, really appreciate your time here with me today, and best of luck to you this season.
All right. Thanks, Kirby.